Hey, what is up, all of you amazing people out there? So this is Cody from Alien Concepts back for another sort of short video here. I was just scouring the internet for articles related to UFOs, UAPs, any kind of like news or sightings, because I have nothing better to do with my life apparently. Stumbled across this one here, which was published in June, actually June 23rd, written by a Mr. Brian Bender. Somehow I missed this. I have no idea how I missed this. The title of it here, as you can see, is Senators Want the Public to See the Government's UFO Reports. And there's a lot of information here, but what grabbed my attention and sent me down a rabbit hole of sorts is a provision that's contained in an annual intelligence authorization bill, which is something that's produced every year annually by the Intelligence Committee. It sort of talks about like the allocation of funding for projects, investigations, things they're going to be doing for the upcoming fiscal year. There's a lot more to it than that. It's a brief summary. Essentially, though, there's a portion of this bill that is talking about unidentified aerial phenomena, aerospace threats to the U.S., incursions into secured aerospace, and the bill, this particular provision of the bill, states that they want the Intelligence Committee and Department of Defense to provide a report within 180 days of the bill passing, looking into a lot of these incursions. And we're going to look at this in just a second. I've got it pulled up. I wound up doing way too much reading of this bill and other bills in the last few days. So Brian Bender for Politico, again, he's the one who published this article, also published an article recently about the UAP task force being formed. And I've looked at both of his articles, and both great articles, obviously very informative, sent me down this rabbit hole, but neither one of them independently reference each other. This one here about the 180-day deadline to release the report doesn't reference the UAPTF and vice versa. So I'm thinking they're independent of each other and they're not really related, which seems to actually be the case. So I'm going to go ahead and come over here to the actual report. This is public information. Anybody can access this. I'm just on intelligence.senate.gov. I am pretty far into it. It's subtitled here, Advanced Aerial Threats of the Bill. It's not very long. There's still a few things I'm going to break down and look into. I'm going to start with just this first sentence here, at least part of the first sentence, and this says, the committee supports the efforts of the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force at the Office of Naval Intelligence to standardize collection and reporting on unidentified aerial phenomena, etc. So this was posed back in June. Early June, obviously before the article was written, which was June 23rd. So this was posed before that. So the UAPTF has been in the works for some months now. Only made public, well, I'm not going to say only made public, but only brought to public light recently in August, when it started gaining all of the traction and all of the news that obviously the government is founding and funding a new program to look into UAPs. So this is actually independent of that, though. Now, if we come down here, we can see that it says, therefore the committee directs the DNI, in consultation with the Secretary of Defense and heads of such other agencies as the Director and Secretary jointly consider relevant, to submit a report within 180 days of the date of enactment of the Act to the Congressional Intelligence and Armed Service Committees on Unidentified Aerial Phenomena, also known as anomalous aerial vehicles, etc. And I'm sorry I'm not reading this whole thing in its entirety. I know it's short and I could probably do it, but I just want to take bit by bit and sort of break this down. The UAPTF is still being created to look into unidentified flying objects, unidentified aerial phenomena, apparently now anomalous aerial vehicles, and gather reports in a way to streamline and make a standardized process for the reporting of these objects or incidents going forward and across multiple agencies. Part of the reason that this provision in this bill was brought up in the first place is because the Intelligence Committee felt that we were lacking a standardized process for the reporting of UAPs, UFOs, AAVs, and wanted to standardize this, get something coherent going across all of these branches. Let's actually just go through these points here. So, the committee further directs the report to include 1. A detailed analysis of unidentified aerial phenomena data and intelligence reporting collected or held by the Office of Naval Intelligence, including data and intelligence reporting held by the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force, so everything that they are gathering. 2. A detailed analysis of unidentified phenomena data collected by geospatial intelligence, signal intelligence, human intelligence, and measurement and signals intelligence. So things captured by GPSs, radio, just human sight and what we've seen. Point 3. A detailed analysis of data of the FBI, which was derived from investigations of intrusions of unidentified aerial phenomena data over restricted United States airspace. So that point's sort of important in particular because really what they're looking at here, it's not just everything across the US, though. I suppose when they're gathering information from the UAPTF, it would fall under that. But specifically with this report, really what they want to look into is just intrusions into secured US airspace. Because there are craft, there are things that are intruding on secured US airspace. 4. A detailed description of an interagency process for ensuing timely data collection and centralized analysis of all unidentified aerial phenomena reporting for the federal government, regardless of which service or agency acquired the information. Again, that's going back to they just want to have a coherent, standardized process for the reporting and filing of information across all agencies and branches of the military. 5. Identification of an official accountable for the process described in paragraph 4. It's going to be a new position within the government or within one of these branches that they're going to be creating. Somebody's going to be assigned to it. That's going to be their job. 6. Identification of potential aerospace or threats posed by the unidentified aerial phenomena to national security and an assessment of whether this unidentified aerial phenomena activity may be attributed to one or more foreign adversaries. They're trying to figure out if it's another country. 8. Recommendations regarding increased collection of data, enhanced research and development, and additional funding and other resources. So they're going to be looking into more ways to catalog and gather data of UAPs, UFOs, try to find more of them essentially, and they're going to be funded more for doing this. I mean, obviously we have the creation of the UAPTF. This is being taken very seriously. So one other thing that I just wanted to point out in here that stood out to me was right here where they're using the terminology that UAPs, which is still relatively new terminology, is now also being referred to as anomalous aerial vehicles. I mean, I'm taking this as they know that these things are vehicles. These things are being piloted, whether by somebody or something in the craft or remotely, that unidentified aerial phenomena it could be anything. It could be atmospheric conditions that are being mistaken. But the fact that they're now using terminology such as anomalous aerial vehicles leads me to believe that they know that some of these things are craft. That these are vehicles, these are modes of transportation. So whether that be something from another country or extraterrestrial, they know that these are crafts. This is unclassified. That tells us, this tells me, that we are seeing vehicles in our skies. The last point down here is that it says the report shall be submitted in unclassified form. May include a classified annex, but it's going to be submitted in unclassified form, which means we're going to have access to it. So I want to stay up to date on this. I want to follow this, and I want to see what they have to say about this, and I want to see what this report has to offer. And I'm trying to follow the progression of this bill, because the 180 days starts with the completion of the bill. And if we come over here, we can see that according to congress.gov, the bill's been introduced, has not yet passed Senate. This is the same bill. This is the one that was submitted by Senator Rubio back in June. And if we come all the way back to the top here, we'll see that this is that bill. Submitted June 17th, Mr. Rubio. June 17th, Mr. Rubio. So it hasn't even passed Senate yet. So this is still relevant. This is still on the books. This is still something that we are going to be looking for and following, because that 180 days is going to start as soon as this passes. And as soon as those 180 days are up, I'm going to be looking for that report to see what they have to say. And hopefully you guys will be looking with me. So this went on a little bit longer than I expected, and I stayed on one screen for a lot of the time and talked over top of it, so hopefully it's not too boring for you guys. I thought about including, you know, the webcam video of myself in there, but don't have a backdrop or anything right now. Maybe I'll cut it up and put some pictures in there or something to make it a little more entertaining, which, you know, if you get to the end of the video and you've seen pictures, then that's what happened. Anyway, that's all I wanted to share with you guys today. Have a wonderful day. As always, let us know anything that you want to know. We'll look into it, and if there's anything that we can do to improve the quality of the videos, please let us know. Thanks, guys. Have a wonderful day.